Hello friends, it's Angelina and Dima from OKNC World. In this gear comparison video, we're going to review and compare two very similar structure and design-wise tents
Naturehike Mongar 2 tent
and MSR Elixir 2-person tent. As you may already know, we've been using MSR Elixir tent for a very long time and so far haven't found better alternative to replace this tent, except more expensive options like MSR Haba. Therefore, we're in constant search.
What we know for sure, it should be a self-standing tent with a separate pole frame, quite spacious in width and height, that will keep its shape and not sag inside, so will be comfortable for two people. Additionally, having a budget-friendly price. This is quite a task, we know. But we're eyeing this Naturehike Mongar 2 tent for quite a while, so we're going to find it out in this video comparing this Naturehike and MSR Elixir side by side. So we'll begin with what's in the bag. Both Naturehike and MSR are packed in high-quality compression bags. But the MSR bag immediately loses 1 point, because it doesn't have any good compression system. The bag is also very large and could have been much smaller. We think that the manufacturer idea with this one was to make the simplest and quickest possible wrap-up of the tent into the bag, rather than a compact compression bag. The whole weight of the kit is 2.5 kilograms, with the dimensions packed 51 by 17 centimeters. The Naturehike tent, on the other hand, has everything covered. The bag is compact and the double shrinkage rope is well thought out. The weight of the tent is about 2 kilograms 180 grams, and its pack dimensions are 50 by 15 centimeters. When we look at what's inside, MSR Elixir has the same problem. All the parts of the tent are packed loose with no compression straps. Naturehike does have a special strap with Velcro. MSR Elixir comes with 12 packs in its own separate case, 4 additional guidelines and a frame pole structure, with a separate short cross pole. The frame pole structure has its own separate case. Naturehike similarly has 12 packs in a kit that come in a separate case with 4 guidelines and a pole frame in its own separate case. So we can say that both tents are equally well equipped. But would like to immediately note that MSR packs, in our opinion, are much superior in comparison to Naturehike packs. These are simple looking but very functional packs. They are very easy to install simply by hand without any additional devices. But in the case of Naturehike stakes, we are faced with a problem when installing by hand. This pack digs into your hand with sharp edges, which is not acceptable. There are also differences in the design of the frame poles. We like Naturehike better in this because there are fewer poles. It is a 1-pole structure tent, and in addition to this, the middle cross pole is already attached to the entire frame. You don't have to look for it in the grass and worry about losing it somewhere, it's always a built-in structure. The MSR Elixir has a 2-pole structure with 2 identical poles, which makes the tent heavier and more difficult to install. Also, the tension in those poles is quite strong. The middle short cross pole is separated from the structure, which is a con. Both tents also come with their own branded footprints, which is very good, but the MSR, unlike the Naturehike, doesn't have any pack for the footprint. The footprint comes without a pack. Naturehike has its own proper closing case, and this is very important since the footprint will dirty the inside of your backpack or the tent itself. In our opinion, it must be in its own separate case. The setup for these two tents is very similar too. With Naturehike Mongar, we start with a footprint, place the tent body on it, insert the frame poles into all 4 corners, then attach the fasteners of the tent body to the frame. These fasteners have an unusual rotary fitting system. This is neither good nor bad, we don't see any particular advantage in this system, but it's not bad either. Then we install the middle cross pole into the loops on the sides of the tent, and the tent body is all set up. MSR Elixir is almost identical in installation. We just want to note that installing the poles is very difficult, especially for a beginner. At first we couldn't understand which pole to start with and in which direction. The poles are identical to each other and are connected with special fasteners. But it doesn't matter which side goes which pole, and you have to either change sides or twist the pole towards the other edge of the tent sometimes to make it right. In addition, since there are 2 poles, they have a very strong tension, which is also inconvenient during installation. and the middle crossbow is separate from the entire structure. Both tents can be installed without the flysheet for a minimal setup. Then we put on the flysheet. The Nature Hike flysheet is very light, so it contributes to making the whole kit lighter. The flysheet is put on starting from the middle pole fastenings, then along the edges you can fasten it with these special clamps. Then you can install the pegs and fasten the vestibules and guy lines along the edges of the tent, from the sides of the vents. The Nature Hike flysheet is noticeably lighter and is made of 15D nylon. The MSR flysheet is put on in a similar way. Starting from the cross stick, there are also two fastenings on the sides. But unlike Nature Hike, MSR doesn't have special fastening clamps at the corners of the tent. There are the same fastening loops with tension adjustments. We don't see much difference in this, both the clamps and simple loop fastenings do their job perfectly. The MSR flysheet is made of 68D ripstop polyester, and as a result it is significantly heavier. Looking from the outside at both of the tents, we can see right away that the Nature Hike tent is wider. It is 135 cm wide in contrast to 127 cm of MSR Elixir. But we also immediately note the rather small vestibules of Vanguard tent. There are also two of them on the sides, but they are noticeably smaller compared to MSR. This also happens because MSR has two pegs for the vestibule and one additional corner, while Nature Hike has only one peg for it. It makes the vestibule smaller. The vestibules of Nature Hike can open from any side convenient for you, while with MSR you need to choose the correct side of the entrance to the tent in advance. The vents are very similar in both tents. The Nature Hike tent has slightly larger vents, but they are also located in the same spots, so both tents have excellent ventilation. When we enter inside, we immediately notice the unbranded zippers on Nature Hike, and zippers is a very important part of the tent. We just hope that they are reliable by the look of them. At least there were no problems with them during testing. On MSR, the zippers are of a brand YKK, which is well known and can be trusted. The other big difference is that the entire tent body of the Nature Hike Mongar is made of mesh, which immediately indicates to us that it's mostly a two-season tent. It is suitable for summer, early autumn and late spring. The MSR has many solid parts inside, and much less meshed parts. At the head and feet you are protected by the fabric, unlike the mesh almost to the very bottom in Nature Hike. Both tents have a fairly high border from the ground to the doorstep, which is good. Dust and raindrops will not enter so easily. Inside the Nature Hike, the hilarious two pockets at the head and feet are striking. These are too small and they are hanging down to the floor a lot. It is unlikely that you can fit anything significant in them. And anyway, it's not convenient. MSR Elixir has two excellent large mesh pockets above your head and at the feet. We love them because they can fit a lot of stuff and nothing ever gets in the way on the ground. At the top of the Nature Hike in the middle, there is a large hanging pocket made of mesh, and this is an excellent solution. This pocket is secured with elastic bands that can stretch and you can fit even more stuff in it. Also next to this pocket in the center, there is a hook for a flashlight, which is very nice. MSR Elixir doesn't have such a large pocket in the center, but it has some fastenings to which you can hang a rope, as we personally did for hanging the laundry. MSR also has two meshed pockets on the sides at the top. They are not so big but also quite convenient for small items. We usually put sunglasses and other small stuff in these pockets. MSR doesn't have any hook for the flashlight. We had to buy it separately since it is extremely necessary. Inside both of the tents we feel very comfortable and cozy, and we feel like they are quite comparable. The tent body length of the Mongar tent is 210 cm, width is 135 and height is 100 cm. Dimensions for MSR are 213 cm long, 127 cm wide and 102 cm high. We like the futuristic design of MSR tent body and its white color, which creates an illusion of even more space. And in Nature Hike it's obvious that it is wider than MSR, and it means that it's even more space for the two of us, which will always be an advantage. These tents are approximately the same height and we didn't notice much difference between them. In terms of price, these tents are a bit different too. MSR Elixir 2 currently can be found in the range of 330 euros, depending on the store, and Nature Hike Mongar 2 costs around 150 euros. You can check out all the links where to buy these tents in the description. So to sum up this video, we're going to mention the pros and cons we found in both of the tents. And starting from Nature Hike, the first thing we want to mention as its advantage is its lower weight. Nicely thought separate storage bags and separate case for footprint. We also like that the vestibules are opened in the opposite directions, and its simple design to install with its short cross pole already attached to the main frame. Inside, this tent is wider. It has an excellent pocket at the top and a flashlight hook already installed. Out of disadvantages, we can mention the pretty bad packs for installation simply by hand, as you obviously won't have a stone or a hammer at hand all the time. Other thing is the small vestibules, and we're not sure how well our backpacks and shoes will be protected from water. We don't like that there is an unknown brand of zippers and terrible tiny pockets at the feet and head. Also, it is almost exclusively a warm season tent, as most of the tent body is made of mesh.
Switching to MSR, we can immediately note simple but excellent packs. Huge vestibules where you can place everything you need and it won't get wet. Branded zippers, we had no problem with them and we trust them. There are excellent pockets on the sides that fit a lot of stuff. They're super convenient. The tent body is not made entirely from mesh, which makes it possible to camp not only warm season. Talking about its cons, the first thing that comes to mind is its weight. It's on the edge of acceptable for hiking and carrying in a backpack. The original packaging is pretty bad. There are no compressing straps on it and it's not made to be compact. The footprint comes without separate case, which is unacceptable, and you need to have your own separate case right away. In terms of construction, we think it's a rather complicated one, especially when starting out, and a cross pole that's not attached to the main construction can be easily lost. There is no hook for a flashlight, which is very important and you have to buy it, or take it from other cheaper tent as we did.
In short, we can conclude that these are two excellent tents, and each one has its own pros and cons. But the final choice is as always up to you, depending on your needs and preferences. And we personally haven't decided yet which one we like the best, yeah? And after watching this video, which tent looks more attractive to you? Or if you have used one of these, which one would you prefer? Let's have a discussion down in the comments. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you like and enjoy watching hiking related videos. We make lots of different content. And that's it for now. All that's left to say is have an amazing day, everybody.
And until next one, see you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.